Alright, it's confession time. I don't know how to talk about old games at all, and that's why I haven't done many old game sockets. Because at some point around the launch of the 360, video games became more cinematic and there was this shift in tone, and I don't think that necessarily made games better, but it made them a lot easier to talk about. And if I'm gonna rank every video game ever made, I'm gonna have to do some old games. So I'm gonna start burning through games chronologically, starting with the launch of the NES. So here is one of the launch games for the NES, Clu Clu Land. So I actually think this game is really cool because it is a Pac-Man clone, but it changes up basically everything about Pac-Man to make it way more interesting on a moment-to-moment basis. So take like the power pellets. Instead of the ghosts turning blue when you get a power pellet in the stage, you can shoot out like a wave of power pellet at any time. And so there's these sea urchins floating around, and you can just turn them yellow. And you don't eat them, you just have to smash them against a wall. You would think that would make the game easier. But the way you move in the game is so much different from Pac-Man that it actually isn't that easy. Instead of you turning based on which direction you choose, you're actually pressing a direction to put out your hand and spin around one of the corners. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but this completely changes the way you have to think about movement in this game, because you're not just pressing buttons to go in directions, you're having to plan out exactly where you want to move. Because there are times when you want to go in a direction and you can't, because you can't swing that way, so you have to set yourself up to swing that way. And that plays into the being able to shoot at any time, because you're focusing on one thing, your movement, while at the same time you might not be able to react fast enough to shoot the thing at the guy who's about to kill you. The other main difference is that you're not collecting little dots. What you're actually doing is uncovering this hidden picture in the level, and you do that by going through, I don't know what you would call them, the gaps between the corners. There's these like coins hidden between the blocks, and you just have to uncover them all. Which is a neat little spin in and of itself, but it's actually really cool because you can trap the sea urchins within the picture. So if you know what the picture is, or if you can kind of work your way around the sea urchin, you can actually trap them, and then you don't have to worry about them. Or you can use that to kind of farm for points, because as long as you have time, you can just kind of keep killing the sea urchins and you get more points. So there's all these little strategies within the game that separate it from something like Pac-Man, and I really appreciate it. I guess my lack of knowledge of older games is showing here, but I think this is actually a pretty interesting little spin on a core concept, and it also kind of illustrates how when the NES first launched, it was kind of an extension of arcade culture. This is definitely an arcade game that is being transported into the home. And since it is 1983, that is blowing my mind right now, man.